The cost to wield slave power. What does it cost the Federal Reserve Central Bank Corporation to wield slave power over nations and you? Answer: paper and ink. For today, a few keystrokes on a keyboard. The practices of the Federal Reserve Bank is felonious under the United States Coinage Act of 1792, which declared defacement or destruction of the gold and silver-backed currency of the United States a death penalty offense. The Federal Reserve knows that these pieces of paper with ink are worthless, but while the central bank can just create these paper notes out of thin air with bookkeeping entries, legalize counterfeiting by your signature, you may not know. In order to pay that ever-growing debt, you have to do what you are told to do by those who have some of those pieces of paper to hand out, tell you to do. Work long hours, invade a foreign nation that refuses to have a private central bank rule them, such as the Federal Reserve, torture innocent people to death to find weapons of mass destruction that do not exist to justify a war, compromise your morals and integrity, perform sexual favors, whatever the purveyors of those pieces of paper want, you must do. That paper promissory note is your slave chain. Private Federal Reserve banking is not about banking or even about money. It is about control over you. The Federal Reserve is about rule by enforcement, servitude to artificially create debt. No different from other hoaxes played by the rich on the poor, such as rule of divine right, or rule of chattel ownership of your body called slavery before the Civil War. Now, after the Civil War, we are in slavery again, ruled by chattel ownership, but this time with a national bank, central bank at the root. As a human civilization, we have outgrown most of those hoaxes and realized that they are illegitimate forms of governments. So, too, shall it be with rule by debt by the banks. Those previous systems only worked as long as the subjected population believed that those systems were real, the way the world was supposed to be. When the people broke free of the slavery of belief, those forms of enslavement collapsed. For it to take the enslavement from the Federal Reserve to collapse, everyone must know about this. For the few to feel rich, everyone else must be poor. Are you one of the rich or are you one of the poor? As the availability of currency declines, it does not matter how hard people work or are willing to work. There must inevitably be homelessness, joblessness, and hunger and war. Modern banking is not a science. It is a religion, simply to set a set of arbitrary rules and assumptions that favor the master bankers of that belief system, which you are brainwashed in school to think is something tangible and real. You're brainwashed by the media. You're brainwashed by TV. You're brainwashed by the books in school. The government only teaches you what they want to teach you, and they only teach you theory. When was the last time that they taught you to write a promissory note? Well, the answer to that was in 1881, my friends. It was taught in public schools. Now, the Constitution is not taught in schools or anything else. It is time to stop while you still can. We have outgrown rule by divine right and recognize slavery as inherently wrong, but you're still enslaved by the central banks. Now is the time for the next step in our society's evolution, in which the money must serve the people, rather than the people serve the money, as stated in the original Constitution for the United States of America in 1779. The common enemy of all humankind are private central banks creating and issuing the public currency as a loan at interest, such as the Federal Reserve is doing today. And they are controlling the lawyers, the court system, the judges. The banks are controlling the world. Did you know that there is another negotiable security instrument that can pay off your debts under public laws at www.debtloanpayoff.com? That website, again, is www.debtloanpayoff.com. Well, there is, and it's called the IPN.